Afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to Source of Information, the only place where you could get viable information. And I'm talking about the type of information that really that's going to make a large difference in your life. You could always reach me at 954-667-4885, 954-667-4885. As you are aware of, we are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. Live on Facebook and YouTube, and we're looking forward to hear from you. You could always reach me at 954-667-4885, 954-667-4885. It seems like technician, the camera is not on yet. So let's get that started for me. The handle to get on YouTube is WSRF 1580 AM, and it's the same thing for Facebook also. So, welcome, 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 welcome. So, all right. As I told you, today what we're going to talk about survival benefits. Okay, we're going to talk about survival benefits, and I believe that survival benefits is a type of benefits that really going to impact everyone's life. And what I mean by everyone's life, I'm talking about young people and older people. I'm talking about people that's already receiving Social Security benefits, and people who are not receiving Social Security benefits. I'm going to break it down for you guys because I think it's very important for you to know what this benefit is all about and who's going to benefit from it. What do you have to do to be eligible for it? So before we continue, what I would like to ask you to do is grab a piece of paper and a pen, if you're able to, and jot down this information. We're going to get really deep into survival benefits, but at the same time, we welcome to hear from you. You could always call at any point if you have any questions at 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580, and then we'll answer your questions. So I am going to put on my glasses, and we're going to start right into it. Social Security survival benefits are paid to widows, widower, and independent of eligible workers. This benefit is particularly important for young people. And what I mean by young people, young wives, young children, because the way it's going to affect them is if the paid worker is no longer with us, then what happens is that there's a void, a huge void economically. And if there's a void economically, everybody suffers. The children are going to suffer, and the wife's going to be under extra amount of stress because now, or the wife or the husband, because now all of a sudden there's only one breadwinner. But however, if you know that there is something called survival benefits, then it alleviates the stress a little bit more. We're going to get into what's the average amount of survival benefits is. And every time I talk about survival benefits, I'm reminded of a neighbor that we had when we lived in Sunrise. This particular young man, very ambitious young man, we oftentimes he stopped to talk to me, trying to pick my brain. This is what he's into. He was doing different type of business. But he had about, I believe, 4 or 5 kids. And one day I remember I was in line at this fast food restaurant, and I saw, he saw me, and he slowed, he stopped, and I look over, that was him, and I waved to him, and we briefly talked, and that was the last time we talked. And months later, I was told that he passed away in a motorcycle accident. Now, I'm asking myself that does his wife does his wife aware of survival benefits? How their children could benefit from it? Because he had 2 or 3 young children. The daughter was friend with my daughter, so at the time, I would say, um, this what happened around COVID about 3 years ago. So the daughter probably was past the age where she could receive benefits, but the rest of the family, the rest of the kids, they within their range where they could get survival benefits. So the children now, they would get, I believe, I saw the percentage about 71% or 77%, but we'll get into the percentage of what they would be getting. Um, so the way it works, the short version, the spousal benefits are available to retired workers, spouse or ex-spouse. Now, spousal benefits pay up to 50% of a workers' monthly retirement or disability benefits. Survival benefits are paid to a surviving spouse or surviving ex-spouse when Social Security beneficiary died. Now, you could receive the survival benefits from Social Security. Survival benefits are payable to a surviving spouse for the remainder of their life. Restriction apply for divorced spouse eligible to receive benefits. So, if a divorced spouse remarried, then they won't be able to collect survival benefits from that particular individual. Again, the number is 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Now, when a husband died, the wife get his Social Security, but surviving spouse for retirement age or older receive 100% of the deceased worker's benefit. Surviving spouse the age of 60 to the full retirement age receives 71 to 99% of the deceased worker's basic benefit. Now, if the spouse is disabled, they could start collecting the survival benefits from the age of 50. We'll get more into that. Now, who qualify for Social Security survival benefits? We just told you that it's a widow, widowers, and divorced widow or widowers, children and dependent parents. Now that really piqued my interest when I saw dependent parents, because you never hear anything about a parents collecting benefits from their children contribution to Social Security. So the survival benefits, can you imagine that you have a parents that depend on you to live? Now they could receive benefits from you. So you don't have to worry about when you no longer around, what's going to happen to that particular parent. So survival benefits, once again, that's another area that they when the law was being created, that they took special attention to address it, which they did. Now, we mentioned you could receive survival benefits for lifetime. Now, the widow would get the widow would get 100% of the surviving spouse full retirement age or older, 100% of your benefits amount. The surviving spouse aged 60 to full retirement age gets 71 to 99% of your basic amount. A child under the age of 18, 19, if it's still in elementary or secondary school or has a disability, gets about 75%. Um, I do apologize for that. Um, Unfortunately, due to technology, everything is connected with one another. Now, how much can a survivor benefits? How much is the survivor benefits amount is per month? It differs from different states. We got to find a way to quiet this down. My apology for that once again. We're going to resolve that because everybody will continue to call. Okay, the average widower, the average monthly benefits for age widower. So what they mean by age widower, someone that's from the age of 60 to full retirement age. The average is at 1,845. A young widow with a child will get about 1,372. A disabled widower will get about 1,033. So you see the amount, especially for age widower, it's a huge amount. Now, there's something that I think I need to address. And I know that last time I covered survival benefits, I got a few phone calls from that. You can, if you're widower, you can continue to work and collect your survival benefits. Now, what you need to do is simply this: when you decide, if that's what you decide to do, and I highly recommend it, because as you continue to work, you continue to make contribution into Social Security. At the same time, when you make contribution to Social Security, your own earning continues to grow. It continues to increase by 6%, in certain cases 6.5% a year. So when you go in to apply for survival benefit, ask them to do a restricted application. Restricted application, what it does is basically allow you to, at a given point, stop the survival benefits and transition into retirement benefits on your own credit. For example, let's say you decide you took the survival benefits and you're working at the same time. You continue to work. Let's say you stop working at full retirement age, 66 and 10 months or 67. But remember, you continue to receiving survival benefits. So when you reach the 67, now you go to the Social Security office and find out what is your retirement amount on your own current record. They will pull it up and they will give you an amount. If that amount is much higher than your survivor's benefits, then you switch, you have them stop the survivor benefits, and you take the amount that's based on your own credit. Now, obviously, if the survival benefits is higher, then you could forget about it and continue receiving the survival benefits. But it's something that you can do. Now, what's the difference between survival benefits and spousal benefits? One of the main differences is the percentage that you're going to receive. Survival benefits give you 100% of the beneficiary's credit, but spousal benefit, the beneficiary is still alive, you're getting 50% of amount. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Should we take a break? We're going to try to take a break, and it'll be very short, and we'll be back in a few minutes. You're listening to Source of Information on none other than 1580. And
chosen generation, we may call for the show. All I require for God is here. I know. Come on, we are a chosen generation. We've been called for the show. All I require for God has here. Says I am, what he says I am, where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What he says I am, where he says I'm at. Say I'm working in power, working miracles. Yeah, I live a life of faith. I know who I am. Say I'm walking in power, working miracles. Generation, come on. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for the show. All I require for life, God is me. I know.
all right, we're back. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. The line is open for you. And if you have any question, feel free to call. Love to hear from you. We're going to continue with survival benefits. Now, when it comes down to survival benefits, there's no penalty. One thing is that it's not retroactive. So what I mean by that is simply if your spouse passed away in January, for example, and we are here in March, basically in March in a couple of days. You cannot claim for January and February. So you can't go back to claim any payments. Then, from the time your application is submitted, that's when they're going to start paying you from that time on, not to go back. Now, we talk about a widow's penalty. In the simple term, the widow's penalty refers to a situation where a surviving spouse may experience a reduction in their overall income or financial benefits, but an increase in taxes after their partner passed away. There we go again. So, passed away taxes. But an increase in taxes after their partner passed away. That's something that, that's a Pierre Woods question. And so we won't get much into it, but they claim that there is such a thing as a widow's penalty. And again, when, the best place to start upon the death of your spouse is to grab the marriage certificate, make sure you have the Social Security number, and the birth certificate and go to Social Security, and they will apply for survival benefits for you there. Now, anything after that, I wouldn't worry too much about it. When they talk about but an increase in taxes after the partner passed away, I would consult the person that does your tax regarding that. Let's talk about the loophole, and I might be repeating myself about this loophole. First of all, what is a loophole for Social Security spousal benefits? There used to be a file and suspend loophole meant to help married couple maximize their Social Security benefits. However, after Congress passed the Bipartisan Budget Act in 2015, this loophole no longer applies. Now, let me explain to you what are they talking about here. The loophole they were talking about is that you are able to go in and claim for spousal benefits. So you're receiving spousal benefits, and while you are on early retirement, for example, and you wait until your money continues to grow, and you suspend it and go back on your regular, your own credit. So, in 2015, they stopped this loophole. But, however, in the survivor benefit, that loophole still exists. In the survivor benefits, you could do that. You could continue to work, and you could file for a restricted application. Now, does the widow automatically get Social Security? Well, a widow is entitled to Social Security survivor benefits when a husband dies or a wife dies, provided the wife or the husband worked long enough prior to his death to earn the eligibility for Social Security. The eligibility requirement that they're talking about is you have to earn 40 quarters. And 40 quarters equate to basically 10 years of working. Each year, you would earn 4 quarters. That's how they came about with the math of 40 quarters. Now, as a survivor, are survivor benefits considered an income? Yes. If survivor benefits are the child's only taxable income, they are not taxable. If half the child benefit plus other income is $25,000 or more, the beneficiary are taxable. You know, I don't like to get much about the tax aspect of it because that's not my forte. But we just want to let you know the information regarding the tax. Regarding the tax for survivor benefits, I would talk to the person who's doing your tax for you, and then they would advise you best on that. Now, survivor benefits for life, you receive a monthly annuity payment. For surviving spouse, generally continue for life unless your spouse remarried before the age of 55. If your spouse was married to you for at least 30 years, he or she can continue receiving benefits when there is a remarriage before age 55. That occurred after January 1st, 1995. Listen, if you remarried, there's a good chance you're not going to get survivor benefits. And it's survivor benefits literally mirrored spousal benefits. And spousal benefits, if you remarried, you're not getting spousal benefits. I cannot tell you how many times I receive a call. It's usually sometime a guy that's calling me and said, "Can I get spousal benefits for my wife, and here's the situation. If you remarried, you cannot receive spousal benefits. And it's the same thing based on what they're saying here regarding survival benefits. So that's something not to consider. Now, I have the survival benefits for 2023, the survival amount. Um, and that amount, what did they say? That amount beginning on December 23rd, 2022, and at midnight Eastern time, January 1st, 2024. Uh, Congress provided for a survivor benefits plan open season in 2023 for national defense authorization. Well, we won't get into that. But let's talk about the children, how does it impact them? We often talk about when a parent leaves, one of the main concerns that they have the day they're no longer there, how their children going to be their lives going to be impacted. But now, when you know about survival benefits, then there's one thing you could do. One thing you can do is what we call a living will. You know, I met a lady yesterday. I think I am going to talk to her and see if I could convince her to talk, especially in this hour, to tell us what a living will is. Yesterday in a Zoom meeting, she was explaining what a trust is. In our community, we don't know about living will. We don't know about trust. And some of us probably don't have the vast majority of us that's listening, we probably don't have a living will and don't have a trust. So I will try to see if I could get her on one of these shows and see if she could come on and educate us about living will and trust. It sounds to me when she was explaining it yesterday, it's on point. So both of them, the living will and the trust, they're very important. But to get back on subject, so if we are concerned about what we're going to leave behind for our children when we're no longer here, how are we going to leave them behind, and especially if they're young, then the survival benefits is the information that you should have. Because I often get a remark about, well, I'm going to take my benefits early because I don't want it to go to waste. I don't have anybody to leave it for. But if you're a young person, and God forbid that you decide to go, well, God decided to take you at a younger age, then from the work that you have done, from the time that in the United States, you could start working at the age of 16. I started at the age of 15. You could start at the age of 16 and they're collecting Social Security benefits from you. So by the time you're a certain age, you have well worked or have 40 quarters that they required. So therefore, you can or your spouse will be eligible to receive survival benefits. The children will receive roughly about what we said about 77%, 77.5%. But I like to, whenever I talk about the children, I like to bring your attention to this part. And I know it's going to be difficult because you've lost an income, and now you have to be mindful about what's going to happen to your kids and how you're able to how are you going to be able to send them to school. element, junior high school, elementary school, junior high school, and high school, well, we know that you don't have to pay for that. But what happened afterward? What happened afterward is the part that we're concerned about. But if that money that they're receiving from the survival benefit to is going directly to something just pop up my mind, and I'm going to share it with you guys in a second. If that money is going directly to an account separate from the account that you have, so you know that you're not going to touch that, and that money is going to continue to grow. Now, here's a revelation that I just had while I was talking to you guys about this. If you create a trust and you dictate in the trust that should you pass away at an early age and your survival benefits should go to directly into an account so that the kids are receiving those benefits till the age of 18, and that money should remain there, so when they're ready to go to college, and they could take that money at that time, the full amount, so they could finance their college, whether it's dorm, whether it's books, whether it's tuitions. And that would give them a leg up. So that's a thought for you. Give me a call. Let me know what you're thinking about. Let me know what's on your mind. 305-945-1580. 305-945-1580. Give me a call. Let me know what you're thinking. Okay? Now, why can't I get half of my husband's Social Security or wife's? If you wait until you reach full retirement age to receive benefits, you'll receive your full spouse benefits amount, which is up to 1/2 of the amount the spouse can receive. Now they're not talking about survival benefit. They're talking about spousal benefit. So at full retirement, you're receiving 50% of what your spouse is receiving. But if you take it, what would consider to be early retirement, then it's going to be less because they're going to base it on the percentage of, what is the percentage if you were to take it at the age of 62, 64, or 65. So they're going to dictate that percentage, how much that percentage is, and so that they could come with how much you will be receiving on a monthly basis. Now, the rule for survival benefits as a whole, widow or widow age 60 or older, but under full retirement age, gets between 71 and 99% of the worker's basic amount. Widow or widow in any age with a child younger than age 16 gets 75% of the worker's benefit amount. Child gets 75% of the worker's benefit amount. The maximum Social Security benefits for 2000. Let's back up. Maximum Social Security survival benefits are 100% of your benefits. And again, that same rule apply for if you're receiving the benefit at the age, full retirement age, or if you're receiving it at a younger age, then it could range from 71.5% to 99%. Full retirement age, for some of you guys, 66 and 10 months. For some of you guys, going to be 67. So it depends, like starting next year, it's going to be 67. And 67, that's for the people that's was born in 1960 and up. People that was born in 1959 is 66 years and 10 months. So now there's reason why you also could be disqualified from receiving survival benefits. If a widow or spouse, a former spouse, remarried early, without spouse and former spouse who remarried before the age of 60, or 50 if they are disabled. So let me break it down a bit for you. I like to break things down so that whatever legally that they put together, so that you fully understand exactly what they're talking about. Now, they tell you that you could collect survival benefit at the age of 60. If you're disabled, you could collect it at the age of 50. However, if, for example, you remarried before the age of 60, at the time when you could collect it, then you're not eligible to receive survival benefits from that spouse. Probably you're going to have to wait for the person that you're married to currently, that you'll be able to probably receive survival benefits from them. Hopefully you did step up so that their benefits, that particular person's benefits is much higher than your previous husband. I know I'm hearing a noise. This is that's kind of insensitive, but I have to break it down to you guys. Be real about it. Not to sugarcoat anything. Now, however, if the later marriage ends, if the marriage ends, eligibility can be reinstated. Let me also dive a little bit deeper in that. So if you were married, you remarried, so you no longer have survival benefits. However, if the marriage ends, then you could go back and see if you could reinstate the survival benefits. That's information that you guys really need really need to know. I don't know if I missed a call. Call me back at 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. So that is good information. So there is a point whereas a person that disqualified have a second chance to be eligible for survival benefits. That's powerful, and that's nice to know. Now we talk about the average monthly benefits. The average monthly benefits amount for age widower is $1,845. For young widow with child and care is $1,372. Disabled widower is about $1,033. Now, mind you, this amount is 2023 amount. So obviously, the 2024 amount is slightly higher than the numbers that I just quoted you. Now, survival benefits can be collected at the age of 60 and full retirement age. Okay? So we kept going back to the same thing. And the survival benefits, at what age does security survival benefits end for a child? That benefits start when your child reaches the age of 18, unless that child is a student or has a disability. Then it goes to the age of 19. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. We are at the studio, 305-945-1580. Call me at the studio. So age 18 for a child, and if the child is disabled, then it goes to 19 and up. Okay? Call me on 305-945-1580. We are on air. We are taking your call live. We'd love to hear from you. 305-945-1580. Okay. Now, there is how do I get we want to address that. Now the question, do all spouse, let me take this call. Hello, you on the air.
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you
Gilbert,
doing?
good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great, and you?
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
How old someone has to be before for them to sign up for the survival benefits? And a second question is, let's say it's only the wife who's in Social Security, and she died, she passed away. Does the husband get can the husband himself get the survival benefits? Let's say the wife is in Social Security, and she passed away, she died, and she left children, and the husband is still alive. Can the husband still apply for survival benefits?
Okay. First of all, survival benefits start at the age of 60. Now, if for an older person, for a young person, they could start as immediately as soon they go to the Social Security and put their application in, because then they'll get it at an early age, and I guess at some point it may stop at a certain age because they are getting it at a younger age. Now, in terms of the older husband, survival benefits work the same way as it would work for spousal benefits. The difference is the percentage. However, in the later years, it works similar, because what happened is this: if the surviving spouse, if whatever the amount that he's receiving from Social Security is lower than the deceased spouse, then they're going to give him the deceased spouse amount.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's take another example. Let's say he wasn't working, and or he didn't get enough credit to or he's not there yet for retirement. Then he's going to have to wait till his retirement age, which at this point is 60, to collect benefits from the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he could continue to work and collecting the survival benefits from his wife and allow his benefits to continue to grow, so when he reached full retirement age, he could go back and said, okay, I'm going to take my retirement from my own record, and I will discontinue the survival benefits, providing that the survival benefits is less than whatever he would be receiving from his own record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In other words,
Okay.
if the amount, let's say if the survival benefits is a 1,500, and from his own records he would be receiving 2,000, they'll discontinue and give them the 2,000, whatever the amount that's higher. Make sense?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye,
for
Gilbert.
calling. Okay, bye-bye. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. We're talking about survival benefits, and I hope you guys have been taking notes, because there's one thing I learned here. I did not know that you could go back and reinstate the survival benefits if you remarried. If you remarried and you end up, on your second marriage, you end up divorcing that person, then you could go back and ask Social Security to reinstate you, reinstate your eligibility. That is. I think I learned something today. I learned something, and I don't think we could comb this information just about every other week, and every time, and it always happened. Every time I'm going over that information, there's always something new that's there that I did not see. I did not see before. We've been talking about survivor benefits since last year, I think, in the middle of last year, I believe. So that's how long we've been talking about it, and we've been we've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on it. And today I finally found something totally different, something new that you guys should know. Now, there's a question here: do all spouses get survival benefits? And if your spouse died, you could qualify for survival benefits if you were married to the deceased person for at least 9 months. Now that's again. Yesterday, I had a similar question. So you could qualify for survivor benefits if you were married to the deceased person for at least 9 months, and if you are at least 60-year-old, unless you are disabled or caring for the deceased person's child, who is under the age of 16 or disabled. So if you have a child under age 16 or disabled, then also they are entitled to receive survival benefits, and the spouse is entitled to receive benefits. But again, the time is 9 months. Someone called me, I believe it was yesterday, and one of the questions, first of all, no, it was on Monday. One of the questions the person asked was that how long you have to be married before you start receiving survival benefits. I think we discussed this on Monday, and I was animated about it. And my response to them was 12 months. But here has a different take that says 9 months. So 9 months of marriage, and if the person died, then you're entitled to receive survival benefits. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. I don't think we could talk, we could limit any time on this information. Now, can you collect both survival benefits and Social Security benefits? The answer is no. They will never give you both. They will give you one. And the one that they will give you is the amount that's higher. Obviously, survival benefits is going to be high because of the percentage. So you're going to get 100% of the survival benefits. And then even your benefits that you worked on, you'll have to do a restricted application so that later on you could go back and apply for your own. We hear that 2015, that loophole for spousal benefits was removed. And when you think about it, I know there's a lot of reason why they probably would think that it's necessary to remove that loophole. When they removed that loophole, I don't think there were too many people who knew about it. And I remember that time because just about when they were about to remove it, and that's why a lot of people, it brought attention to that particular loophole to everyone in the United States. So that's when a lot of us find out about it, and we were talking about it. But by the time that you were able to take advantage of it, then it was snatched away from you. So that's why we have to stay on point. When you hear this information, you make sure you commit that information, remember that information, and So down the line, if you need to go back and retrace your step on a particular information. So you know your first step is go to Social Security, apply for survival benefits, bring the marriage certificate, bring the death certificate. Those two, that's what you're going to need. And I believe on on the marriage certificate, you have your Social Security number. So that's one reason for you to bring your the marriage certificate. And if you have children under the age of 16, then you make sure you bring their information so they could include them in the record. Great information. I really hope that you are taking it and you are sharing it with other people, because um, because this is information. This is very important information, life-saving information. I would dare to say life-saving information, because during that time when you are grieving, you need one small window to open for you. And if an individual come to you and said, "Listen, I heard from Gilbert that you are entitled to receive surviving benefits if your husband had worked 10 years in the United States," then all of a sudden you'll find out there's a huge difference in that person's life. You've made a big difference in that person's life by sharing that information with them. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. For a lot of you guys, you know that Dr. Oman Joseph has been on this show, and we're going to try to get him back on. But for some reason that I've become a proponent for breast cancer. And the more I get involved into it, and I'm finding out friends that's going through the same thing. So Dr. Oman Joseph, by the way, he didn't ask me to do this. When I came here today and I saw this, and I felt that it's necessary for me to pass that information. He's having a free breast cancer exam. You could get a free breast cancer exam from Dr. Oman Joseph. Call him at 786-401-6455, 786-401-6455. We'll continue to pass that information. And if you need it, you didn't get a chance to get it, and you need to have a breast exam, free breast cancer exam, call me at 954-667-4885, 954-667-4885. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.